Good morning, students. We'll continue with the second part of the lesson, two big states. Huan Sang. Today's our topic is Huan Sang. Huan Sang was a Chinese traveler who visited India during Harsha's reign. His time period was from 629 CE to 645 CE. Huan Sang was a Chinese traveler known for his, very well known for his travelogues. What are travelogues? Travelogues are those details which are noted by the travelers, usually when they travel some special places. Huan Sang travelogues are very famous for finding as a source of history. Now, Huan Sang stayed in India for nearly 15 years during Harsha's rule. Out of this 15 years, 5 years he stayed in Nalanda University. What was his reason for staying 5 years in Nalanda University? He was greatly impressed by the educational system of Nalanda University and he wanted to study Buddhism. So during his stay at Nalanda for 5 years, he studied Buddhism. And while studying Buddhism, he described the religious, political, social conditions during that time, like what type of life people lived. People lived a very simple life, simple pious life, religious life. What was considered as sin, if we see the social condition, like breach of promise. Breach of promise means when you don't keep up your word, that was considered as a sin. During that time, he attended the 6th Buddhist religious congregation held at Prayag. In first part, I had explained you that Harshvadhan used to hold, every 5 years he used to hold a Buddhist congregation at Prayag. So meantime, when he stayed at Nalanda, this congregation was held and Huan Sang attended the 6th Buddhist religious congregation at Prayag. During his visits, what all the minute and important details were there, he had noted down in his travelogues. There, on his visit, he found that there were nearly 100 Buddhist mutts. What are mutts? Mutts are those places where Buddhist monks stay. This shows that during that time, Buddhist religion was in a great, people were following Buddhist religion during that time. And then he returns to China via Central Asia. During his returning to China, nearly he traveled 45,000 miles journey. And during his return, it is found that he had taken nearly 150 religious texts with him, 6 statues, out of which it is observed that when he was traveling, he had to face a great flood, and which many of the religious texts and important notes were carried away in the flood. But anyhow, he managed to return to China. That comes to the end of Huan Sang's topic. Now, second topic among the two big states. So, the first part of the lesson ends with Huan Sang's returning to China. And the second big state now we will talk about, that is Vatapi. Vatapi, if you find in today's political map of India, you won't be able to identify as easily as you will identify other states. Because now Vatapi is a very small region compared to that type. Vatapi is present day Karnataka, and the king which we are going to study, that is Pulkeshi-II. In part 1 we studied about Harshvadhan, and in part 2 we are going to learn about Pulkeshi-II, the great contemporary ruler of Vatapi. Now here I have made a flow chart. It starts with Pulkeshi-I. Pulkeshi-I was Pulkeshi-II's father. Now during olden days it was a tradition that if the great grandfather is very victorious, or he had performed, or he has become very well known throughout the world, they used to give the same names in order to continue the dynasty, so that with that thinking that the grandchild would also become same as the great grandfather. So here I have started with Pulkeshi-I. Now Pulkeshi-I was the ruler of Vatapi. He performed Ashwamedh Yagna. During those days, to please God, they used to perform yagnas, and this Ashwamedh Yagna was considered to be a very important yagna, and only those kings who possess lot of wealth, because it is said that Ashwamedh Yagna includes those things like it requires lot of donations. You have to give lavishly. So the great rulers who have lot of wealth, only they can perform Ashwamedh Yagna. So Pulkeshi-I was one who performed Ashwamedh Yagna. And his flag, he had a flag which had the symbol. See, usually those times, because they were to identify from the flag, they used to use certain symbols to which dynasty they belong. So his flag, Pulkeshi I's flag, had the symbol of Vara Avatar. Vara Avatar is an incarnation of Lord Krishna. After Pulkeshi I, his son, Pulkeshi I's son was Kirti Varma. So after Pulkeshi I died, Kirti Varma, his son, became the king, and this way the dynasty continued. And after Kirti Varma, Manglesh was Kirti Varma's brother. Kirti Varma's brother Manglesh, he succeeded the throne after Kirti Varma. Now who is Manglesh? Manglesh is the constructor of the grand Vishnu temple. And after Manglesh comes Pulkeshi-II, for whom which we are going to study in this chapter. Now Pulkeshi-II and Harshvadhan in first part, both were contemporary rulers. Contemporary rulers means both were ruling at the same time. Harshvadhan was ruling in North India, same era Pulkeshi-II was ruling in South India. Now let's see about the qualities of Pulkeshi-II. Pulkeshi-II was a brave soldier. He was a valiant king. Also, along with a valiant king, he was a lover of arts. How he was lover of arts? Because later on we will be describing how he was fond of architecture. His first battle was by winning the Lat region in South Gujarat. So from Karnataka, he was ruler in Vatapi. From Vatapi, his first battle was conquering the Lat region, which is in South Gujarat. And after that, he conquered Gurjar Pradesh, that is northern part of Gujarat. Later on, he conquered the Vengi region. Now, Vengi region is the area between rivers Krishna and Godavari, which comes in Andhra Pradesh. So, from Karnataka, he won Lat region in Gujarat, then Gurjar Pradesh, and then again he conquered the Vengi region, which is in the state of Andhra Pradesh. The Vengi region lies between Krishna and Godavari rivers. After that, now if we just recapitulate, in the first part, Harsha was also expanding his rule. So, Harsha and Pulkeshi, they both had a battle near the river Narmada. In this battle, both the great rulers had a fight near the river Narmada, in which Harsha was defeated. This Harsha's defeat halted the victorious march of Kanauj. Now Harsha could no more extend his rule beyond Kanauj. Harsha's defeat was a great halt to his rule extending towards South India. Now we come to the point that how he was a lover of art. Pulkeshi-II constructed the caves of Vatapi and Dharapuri. These two caves, during that time, in order to keep the history known for various generations, these kings used to do many constructions. So this Pulkeshi-II constructed caves of Vatapi and Dharapuri. And you must be aware of Ajanta Ellora caves. These caves were already there, but he got it painted. So Ajanta caves were painted during Pulkeshi-II's time, and he transformed Vatapi into a magnificent splendor and very important city, and made Vatapi as its capital. Pulkeshi-II ruled for nearly 30 years. So this shows that he was very powerful. And at last, he had a fight with the Pallav king of Chalukya dynasty of Kanchipuram, and there he died at the age of 642. Now this shows that both Harshvardhan as well as Pulkeshi-II were contemporary rulers. That means both were ruling at the same time, but Harsha was more powerful than Pulkeshi-II. And after the death of Pulkeshi-II, Harsha died 5 years later.